Hi guys, this is Shamayim Podcast. My name is Carolina and welcome to heaven. So in the previous video, we were talking about this consciousness of heaven on earth and how it always has been here, beneath all of this earthly confusions and illusions, and how we don't have to do anything else to bring it here or to enter in contact with it, because it's already here. It always has been here. We really need only to take off the confusion and the illusions that don't allow us to experience and to see this reality that it's within our hearts and our consciousness. So let us continue. In this episode, we will continue with suffering part, with poverty and war. We need to acknowledge it in all ways we can. And in the smaller ways, we should see it as life passing by. Because it is, right? Not every day the sun is shining. Sometimes there's rain, and that's okay, because we know rain makes flowers grow. But then we should let it go and be super aware that 90% of that same suffering, exactly like Buddha said, 90% of that suffering that comes is mostly from the mind and its ignorance about the origin of suffering. Let us deny poverty from our world, especially from our world. Because no matter what you hold in your wallet, the moment has its blessings, and we should look for them. I had this conversation with friends and all, that sometimes, and this is kind of counterintuitive to where I want to go with my life and exactly about what I'm talking now, but we must see the good in all. And sometimes not having money is actually a good thing, right? Because it tends to grow our creativity. Sometimes if we cannot afford the thing we love, it's beautiful to do it ourselves, right? To know how to do it too. So because you were poor, you learned a new skill, you did something from your heart, and that is beautiful, To always to avoid poverty, is to always look for the blessing. There's always a blessing, because in actuality there is no poverty, right? There's only moments where you have things and where you don't have things. But I believe that nature always gives us what we want. So let us be thankful. It's so important. Being thankful. In this case, because being thankful is the other side of poverty. It has a healing balm that automatically brings more prosperity to our lives. Is to be good with what you have in the moment, right? Even if in the moment you have a piece of bread, or you live in a mansion, you know, it doesn't matter what it is. It matters how you feel. Do you feel open to new opportunities? Do you feel thankful for all the blessings? Do you feel free, helped, loved? Or do you contract? Or do you fear? Or do you constantly thinking about the things you cannot have? No, it's a choice to change our perspectives, because you can feel rich with one coin in your pocket, or extremely poor with millions. We don't want a life that is only based on money, right? We want a life that has happiness. So let us help, educate, and feed all that asks for us. You know, I don't feel you need to go travel the world or consider too much about what's happening very much away from you. But I believe that if anybody asks you for something, we must give. Because in our path, it's not a person who's asking us, it's the Spirit who's asking from us. Please show me your prosperity. Please give me a coin in the street. You know, it's the Spirit that's calling that from us. Because it's the time for us to give. And there will be also a time for us to receive it. Prosperity and abundance is not only about catching. It's about having a full life with the right time for everything. Because we are these incredible beings with so much facets to it. And all of that is abundance. Right? So we must help every single one that comes in contact with us and that asks us for anything, because then it's your sign to help. You know, we should not go so further that we want to help everybody. For me, it's very much connected to the now. Prosperity is not only about getting money or going further in life. It's really a combination of being healthy, of being clear and calm, of being free free enough to help. Because to enter prosperity is to trust, is to love, is to give ourselves our own proper value. You know, it's important. It's our power. And when people have a scarcity mindset, it's because they are not giving themselves the true power, right? I've been really diving deep in these ideas of prosperity, of being conscious with money. Not because I want to get rich for the sake of richness, but because I want to leave my most valuable currency in the world, right? I want to give my heart to the world. And there's no money that pays that. I want to leave legacy for my family. And also because I want to connect to that golden level of being absolutely free, of understanding that if I'm here today, if I exist, if I was born in this world, it's because of something. And by living that mission, I will be helped, I will be taken care of. And I've been living this, I have been trying to connect with this energy. And what I've been seeing is that the difference between poor and rich people is not super based on their wallets. It's honestly based on the love they give themselves. You know, on what you accept for yourself, right? Do you accept the minimum? Or do you say, no, sorry, I know who I am, I want this? You know, so how you dress yourself is how you present yourself, is how you talk to others too. Because that idea of the billionaire who's mean to everyone and looks up at everyone is dead. You know, it's about being extremely loving to yourself. And by that you must be to the others, right? Because the others are yourself. It's this giving, you know. It reminds me of the sun. It gives and 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 doesn't ask anything in return, and it doesn't stop because he doesn't feel like it. It's ever giving, and that is why it's so abundant, right? And we must be the sun. We must be this ever-giving force. At the same time, being in touch with the moment and being in touch with ourselves, our bodies, where we are connected to who asks for us. And if we give ourselves our true value, if we take care of ourselves, if we try to give ourselves the best, we also make better and better choices every day, right? To improve our physical lives. Let us eradicate all war from our world. By ripping the root of it from our own hearts. So, like you guys know, my brand name is called Shamayim. That is the second of the seven heavens um, in the Hebrew Kabbalah tradition. And it's a Hebrew word that means heaven or paradise. And Shamayim in particular is a place where the recent deceased souls must cross the river that will take them to the other side. And that makes sense for me at the time when I created my business. Because within my consciousness, that was my place. And it is a place where the soul is excited to see what comes next, to experience all those heavenly realms, right? But it's still some kind of attached to the life that once was. At this point, the soul knows it's dead, right? That it must go on. But it still misses what it was familiar to it before. All the places, all the people it loved while on earth. And it's somehow still more connected to the familiar world than to this new unknown. I have seen many people on Instagram and other social medias fighting for what's right, exposing this war, asking for help to donate, to change laws, to help those that are really in need. And when I started my brand, I started making little wall hangings, and every single one of my arts are always based in some kind of frequency, in some kind of vibe or mood. And like some are calm, some are about wisdom, some are about love, some are about many other things. And I started by calling them with Hebrew words too. I'm not Hebrew, I have to tell you this. I don't actually know nobody, but because of my studies, right, I come from Christian background, although my parents were not really super tied to the religions. It was more societal thing. And I had this knowledge within me, but for many years, maybe it's till I was 26 or something, I didn't believe, I believed in science, as the world goes, and I didn't believe because I was super pissed at God. Don't tell him that. Yeah, and so I had these memories of the little stories that I had to learn to get baptized, and then later when I started to dive deep in spirituality, and later I read many other traditions than mine. But there comes a point where you're like, why should I travel the world? I'm not a Buddhist. I'm not a Hinduist. I'm not a you get what I mean, right? I was a Christian, and so I started to dwell more into these stories. And let me tell you, they hold so much power today as all the other ones. It's just because my body lives here in this culture, and so it becomes my closest guide and master. And like I said, I dive deep into spirituality and knowledge, esoteric knowledge, if you want to call it like this. I feel like esoteric always has this dark feeling about it, but not at all. It's just because it had to be hidden somehow, right? So then I started to read and get interested more in Christianity, esotericism, mysticism, and that took me to Kabbalah also, right? And I don't know why I felt it was appropriate to delve in that way. But 1 year later, 1.5 years later, I started to talk in my presentations, and I started to see my business in an English way, because that's how I contact with the world. It's the content I listen to, the television, the songs, the music, everything most of everything of information I receive is in English. And so it was only appropriate that I also expressed in that way. And although it's not even my second language, right? I'm trying my best. It was only appropriate that I made my business open to the world, to the whole world, not just in my country. And so I started to call my pieces English too. And then the word broke. We had experienced the Russian one, and we all know it's nonsense, absolutely nonsense. But I'm not gonna say that it was far away from us, but it didn't touch our hearts as much as this one did. I'm not sure why, but I was so afraid of talking about war with you. So afraid. I actually didn't want to talk about it. First, I want to say that I don't care about politics. I don't care about the specifics of this. I think we are all people. And we should treat people as people. This is kind of obvious. So I'm not going to talk about the specifics of anything because I don't know. I don't know who deserves this land or that land. Because for me, it doesn't matter. This land is ours. Countries, nations, races is something that's old and that will eventually change. You know? Yes, we are a combination of people who have the same vibe. Rudolf Steiner's work, he calls them folk spirits. Yes, we are a combination of people who have the same consciousness wavelength. We embody a certain spirit together, and then we get together, and then we create a city, we create a country, we create a continent, if you will. But we are not separated, and the surface, it belongs to us, no matter where we are, no matter how our vibe is. And so I'm not gonna enter in the specifics of this war. But I still have to talk about it. And I was so scared because I truly believe in my soul that the words we speak will create our reality. And so for me to talk about war would be to bring war to my life again. And God knows I don't want that. God knows. Not in the inner, not in the outer, not in the anywhere. And I was mentioning it before, little in my posts, but it's all nonsense, isn't it? All nonsense. It's an illusion. It's an illusion that started in the Dark Ages, where we need to be strong, we needed to fight the earth. We needed to separate. We needed to, in order to reach where we are. It was a necessary step to have violence, to have anger, to be separated individuals, also as nations. But today, as the world is today, war is an absolute incomplete illusion. And don't get me wrong, I have compassion for what's happening. But if we see that it was an earthquake that happened And this happenings, this war, is just a wave of that same earthquake that happened before. I hope you get what I mean. You know how this happening, how something we did happens, and then there's this waves that continue to happen in smaller ways or higher ways. And I feel like this is the end of those waves, of the earthquake, of violence, of separation, of brutality. Because if we see the Dark Ages, and this is just an example for me to put how it feels energetically, right? Because we have to put words in all these feelings. But if we see it, back then it was accepted. It was a necessity. We must go to war to defend countries, to be patriot, to be, and now we, especially the younger generations, we see it as what? I'm sorry, what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? Because it doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, what are you doing? I cannot even say what we are doing because it's so, Please understand that this is dying. Understand that these behaviors of violence, they are over, they are gone. What expects us is a society of integration, of love, of we know we are all one. And this, and what happened in the previous years now with the COVID and all, it helps us so much to bring that new awareness, this new earth to our consciousness, because we are all one. And although I started then to call my pieces in English, to me felt good because I didn't have to be in the forefront of helping a nation that was mine. I didn't have to defend, my own work, in a sense. You get what I mean? I feel like God was giving me this intuition, like, you should change things. Right? Because I removed that most of the Hebrew language and feeling out of my work. And then 2 months or 3 months after the war broke, and like I said, I didn't want to talk about it, but I see so many people going deep in it, and I really have to say something about it. Please don't go into that. It's not our place. our places to host this new consciousness, this new earth, our places to be free from the past. And of course, like, I'm thankful, like I said in my previous videos, I'm so thankful for the previous generations. Everything, and I see this in my personal life, everything had to be this way, you know? We had to feel these feelings, we had to experience these things in order to be here. But we cannot make evil good. We cannot make it our own mission to eradicate these things, or to talk about it, or to go against it. It's not our purpose anymore, you know? And if I don't watch television, you shouldn't watch television. You shouldn't care. I mean, if you were there, it's different. You get what I mean? My purpose is to live in my country and to deal with my country's problems. And how do you deal with your problems? You create a better world. You don't go to the thing that's decaying, right? And say, hey, this is decaying, blah, 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 blah. You don't do that. You create a better thing, right? You don't endlessly criticize what's wrong, because, you know, you create a solution. And the solution we must create is to understand that what's happening is the end of an earthquake that started long time ago, when we didn't have this enlightened consciousness of the One. So please let us let us remove ourselves from what's happening. And let us create new spaces where this will never happen again. Please, guys, see the light, see the truth. Our energy cannot be focused on that anymore. Remove yourselves from the illusion that helping or talking about it or criticizing or is helpful, because it's not. In order to create heaven on earth, we must be free from what goes against it. Thank you so much for listening to my TED Talk. I'm just kidding, but I love you. I wish the very best for you. No matter who you are, what you are going through, I truly love you. And I truly want the best for you. With all my heart. And I want to say that it's going to to be better. It's going to be so much better for all of us. Let us trust, let us believe, and let us focus on what's good. Because I know there are so much things to heal. So much. But we can do it. We can do it with love, light, and hope. And I love you. I hope you are okay. I hope you are safe. And yeah, that's it. So guys, if you like this video, please comment. Let me know if you agree with me, if you think I'm insane. If you always also see the light in the end of the tunnel. And I would like to say that please subscribe, but after what happened, who cares? I really hope that this had brought some light to your life, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for being there. I'll see you soon.